looks like a nice crowd. Well, my name's Dean Takahashi. I'm the lead writer for GamesBeat at VentureBeat. We're a tech news and gaming site. I've been writing about games for about 27 years full-time, and been writing about tech for 35 years. I also moderate and get speakers for the GamesBeat Summit events. And it's an honor for me to be here with TommyInnit and his manager, Bronagh Monahan. I am astounded at how big an audience Tommy has amassed at the old age of 19. And we're going to sort of delve into that. And Bronagh is his manager, and she's been thinking about diversifying and going beyond Minecraft for Tommy. But why don't you maybe start us off, Tommy, with maybe how you got started here?
How I got started?
How you got started, what you were doing, what were you thinking?
Absolutely, yes. It was a few years of just playing Minecraft while I was at school and making videos on that and doing as sort of much as I could with that because I really enjoyed it. And then just as COVID kicked off, sort of went from 100,000 to 4 million subscribers in a year, which was quite a lot for me. So around that time I met Bronagh, who is Bronagh and Elspeth and MonRae, my great managers. And you sort of hear like a lot of, you kind of only ever hear like horror stories in the entertainment industry of people with their managers and all this stuff that happened. And you don't hear of people who just have a really, really good managers who have helped them go forward with stuff. So this is Bronagh.
And Bronagh, what do you do, but also how did Tommy catch your attention?
So we represent some of the top personalities, voices online. It's our job to, I guess, first identify who those people are, and then we work with them to fulfill their career goals. So we first noticed Tom probably around 2021. Tom was kind of the person everybody was talking about. Tom's numbers were like astronomical. He was really funny. He was at the center of a really eclectic group of Minecraft creators, but we really felt that Tom had, he was funny, he was charismatic, and once we met with Tom and his dad, we realized that he really wanted to be a performer. So a big part of what we do is, I guess, help talent who have a huge audience online build projects offline. So like Tom's done a tour, he's written a book, he works with lots of brand partners, so it's just finding all of those things that Tom can't do himself. Like, we don't tell him what to do, not all the time. He's the master of YouTube, but we help with everything above YouTube.
And how big are the numbers now as well? 50 million followers, right? And
yeah, I think between everything, it's about that.
55 maybe since we last checked.
Wow.
Yeah.
And a billion, you've crossed 1 billion views already, right?
Yeah, which is
that
sort
a couple of years ago, I think.
Yeah,
right?
can't really get your head around any of it. So it's very strange. It's very strange.
Yeah, I mean, it feels like you must be living the dream, right? I mean, this is what everybody wants to do. This whole creator economy we're in. You've made it look so easy, I guess.
Oh, well, Dean, you're too kind, first of all. But yeah, I think it's all sort of, it totally is the dream, and totally dreaming of being able to make YouTube videos and play games for a living. And you kind of get to this point and go, okay, well, I want to figure out what more I can do, because this is absolutely amazing. And sort of the elements of it that you completely don't expect and how to navigate that, like getting recognized and what taxes are and all of these things that, because I was 16, was I, when me and you met?
Yeah.
That's quite a lot for a 16-year-old who hasn't even had his first beer yet to sort of try and decipher.
Yeah.
So Bronagh and Elspeth helped me lots with that.
So how soon did it sort of hit you that, you know, this is not just I guess a lot of fun, but this is a business, right? Like how soon did that hit you?
I think it was probably different points for both me and you. For me, it was over COVID. I was like, right, I'm going to get as many subscribers as I can, and then I'm going to quit and go to college and get a girlfriend. But you see, then I got to college and went, well, hang on, I'm not going to quit because I have 1 million subscribers and this is the best. So that was for me when I went, okay, maybe I'll start taking this a little bit more seriously. Feel like it was probably a different time for you.
Well, I was almost going to say we try not to take ourselves too seriously either. There is a big part of this that Tom is an entertainer, and what he does has to feel fun. I think it's about creating a team around that. So in the same way, if you're a very talented musician and you write music, then you build towards an album, and then you build towards a live show. It's the same thing with Tom. He's ultimately a comedian, so a big part of what we do is, right, how does Tom want to, build on his jokes or build on his writing? I think a lot of people think that what talent do on YouTube is this separate thing. But it's just like any other form of entertainment.
Yeah. I don't know if you guys have seen the Gran Turismo movie, but parents play this interesting role in that movie, and I wonder, how they sort of helped you move along in this space, because parents in video games don't always seem like a good fit, right?
Yeah. Well, I was quite lucky because there's kind of a stigma of parents being against YouTube and being a video gamer. But my mum used to do acting, and my dad has a video game background, so they were very, very supportive of it. And always, my mum would she would still treat it like I was just in my room though, which I was, and so I would be streaming to 250,000 viewers, and my mum would make me stop the stream to go and unpack the dishwasher. So look, she's kept me incredibly grounded.
Yeah, I feel like the stigma is sort of passing from video games as they go from this subculture that grew up with the nerds, and it's just so mainstream now that everybody does it and everybody thinks it's cool. I was on a panel. I'm 59 years old. I actually played Pong when it first came out.
Wow.
And that triggers a lot of laughs. It's like,
look a day over 20.
It was a nerdy thing when I grew up. And Tommy, I think for your whole life, gaming has been really cool.
Yeah, and I remember playing Minecraft with my dad on the Xbox and sort of discovering it. And so all these years of playing the game and letting that build, still to this day, are how I come up with ideas for videos. And I'm sure with you, because you've seen the evolution of Minecraft and watched, because Bronagh managed GanTDM, who was one of the first big Minecraft YouTubers. And just people didn't even know it was possible that from playing games can go to selling out shows or the London Apollo or done so much.
I was also just to your point about parents. Tom's mum and dad are a huge part of our team, and I think that's really important as a manager when you're working with someone who's really young. They are an integral part of having an opinion on things and having that closeness, because it is a very strange concept to become one of the most famous people online as a teenager, and how you kind of get to grips with that. So we're really lucky that we have a really close relationship with Tom's mum and dad. And as Tom said, Ian has worked in the video game industry. Sarah was an actor, so she gets this industry. And I think that's really important, because a lot of people, they'll find young talent. It's happened a lot in music. They see it as a money-making exercise, and they don't actually think about a young person's well-being. So we're really lucky. We operate as a team, and we have a lot of love for the Simons family.
So as a game writer and an occasional game reviewer, people have said to me, wow, you're lucky to be paid to play games. But Tommy, you're in this sort of space that hasn't existed before, right?
Yeah.
You're inventing a career. How do you do something that has never been done before? 10 years ago, you couldn't have done this, right?
Yeah. I think there's kind of a few sort of blueprints of other YouTubers that I've kind of tried to follow and do that, but it's got ever more complicated as I've gone. I love making these videos and entertaining people while I play games, but how do I do comedy now, or stage shows, or a book? And it's been really helpful because Bronagh and my other managers have experience in those elements, so it's sort of taking what everyone knows from that and trying to combine it with my audience and what I do.
And it's like I said earlier, I do think people have this perception that this is a new way of working. It's really not. It's just an evolution of entertainment. So in the same, like I said before, in the same way a musician would create a song, Tom creates a video, and there's a whole host of things that could come off the back of that, like a book, like a show. But the main difference is that not all YouTubers have the same fandom that Tom has. So we were talking to Jim backstage. Tom and his friends did VidCon 2 years ago, and there was thousands and thousands of people who turned up screaming for this whole group of Minecraft streamers, and that's the difference. Not every YouTuber can command a room of 3,000 to 4,000 people, so that's kind of the thing to note.
Your Dream SMP group and Minecraft itself, I mean, it's such a unique game. I wonder, like, how much do you feel your success is really tied to Minecraft? And how do you also try to make it, say, go beyond that as well, right?
So, yeah, I think because Minecraft is a sandbox game, it kind of allows whatever you're passionate about to be conveyed in almost like a language that everyone who plays Minecraft and gets it understands. So for me, that is sort of coding custom things into Minecraft, like making it so you can turn into different monsters and like role play as them. But the Dream SMP was a particular example where in the height of COVID, right as Minecraft was having its sort of first massive resurgence and like doubling its old player count, we sort of told like a story by accident based off of Hamilton, and all my different friends kind of ended up as the cast. And because that audience was there in COVID, you kind of ended up with this big overarching universe and story. And it just goes to show that Minecraft is a forever game. Like, and I think it'll be around in 50 years, and it's because of just how creative you can be in it has really helped my storytelling and my videos.
So, do you ever sort of worry that the audience might, sort of lose some of that enthusiasm for either you or for Minecraft, and that, what do you do when your numbers start to go down? Do you let that get to you, or is there a way you have about thinking, well, I can turn this around, like,
Yeah, I think it is quite a strange position to be in where I am, because I am sort of whilst, like, as I said earlier, being a 16-year-old who's experiencing this, like going to college for the first time. And so I try to make an effort to spend, 75% of my life kind of disconnected from it and still just going to the park and not worrying too much about it. Because I think the reason that people watch me in the first place, wasn't because I precisely calculated I'd get big in COVID and do the Dream SMP. That's Bronagh's job. For me, it was just so, like, because I enjoyed it and I love making videos, and I hope with the different avenues I take, like the shows and the books that we're doing with Bronagh's help, that I'll keep having that love for it, and people will sense that.
Yeah. Now, I guess we keep hearing about this is like the age of creators and the age of user-generated content. Again, things that people couldn't do for a living a short time ago, but now they can. I wonder how much of the future this is for us. Like, are we still maybe in an age where the people who are getting the attention are really celebrities, right? And they're sort of the 1 in a million or 1 in a billion type people. Or is this for everybody, right? Or is everybody going to get famous? Is everybody going to get paid to play games, right? How far do you think this is all going to go?
I think YouTube and this new form of entertainment online is going to be around forever. And just in the past few years, you've seen TikTok come about out of nowhere. And to me, it's like these businesses are working out, right, like when we're not on the screen watching content, like, how can we solve that? Like, why aren't people watching YouTube on the toilet? Well, it's because it's too long. So we'll give them TikTok where it takes them 5 seconds. But I don't think that undermines classical celebrities. And I always think there'll be TV. But I think this new avenue of easily being able to make stuff. I mean, what do you think, Bronagh? Because you've seen it all happen.
I think it's an interesting question. Elspeth and we've both worked in TV backgrounds, so the BBC and Endemol, two of the biggest TV companies, and they come to us a lot and say, what do young people want to watch? And the two things that we always hear are YouTube and Netflix. So I don't think YouTube is going anywhere. I think Netflix has a certain type of content that it serves, and YouTube has a certain type of content that it serves. And a big thing for us then is, if we represent YouTube talent, how do we make that leap from YouTube to Netflix? Does Netflix necessarily, is that the path they should go on? Because with YouTube, they have so much more ownership over what they do. So I think it's, I would say YouTube is definitely here to stay. I think amongst any other platform, it's brought some of the biggest names that have stood the test of time because they have a genuine connection with their audience. Whereas, again, talking to Jim backstage, the TikTokers didn't always bring fans to the kind of creator conferences, whereas YouTubers seem to still have that really meaningful fan base.
And I think there's a thing to be said as well of, like, YouTube to me doesn't feel that new. Like, people have always watched actors go on talk shows and just be themselves and sort of not be in their persona. And I think people just like watching people, you know, be themselves. And YouTube and all these new social medias has given that platform for more people to do that and see it and recognize it.
I guess as the old guy here, I feel like the lesson that I would have to impart is that you should never bet against games, right? Just when you think it's hit its peak or it's past its hype cycle, it just keeps on getting bigger and bigger. And I would have never thought that, say, even just during the last year, looking at it go from subculture to mainstream in a bigger way with things like The Last of Us on HBO.
Yeah.
And the Super Mario Brothers movie hitting $1.36 billion in box office revenue, and 169 million people have watched it.
Wow.
So far.
Yeah.
Right. And those numbers are just so astounding, I guess. And so, I mean, it feels like there isn't a ceiling to this business, right?
Yeah, and it's kind of just in the past few years to see the rise of so many different platforms in such a short time. Like, this industry moves so overwhelmingly quick, so it's really good to have a team like with Bronagh and sort of the rest of the people you work with to navigate it and go, oh my goodness, like, what even is TikTok? That wasn't around when I started YouTube, and I've been doing it, and I'm 19, you know, I've not been doing it for any time at all.
But to your point, Dean, those two games that you referenced, The Last of Us and Super Mario, they're about character and story. So again, like what Tom mentioned earlier, Dream SMP kind of brought all of that together, and I think that's the reason it was so successful. So what we tried to tell talent is you don't need a Hollywood budget to create something that like keeps bringing an audience in. I think it's just about using your imagination and being creative, and people who are into games tend to have quite a wild imagination, and they, you know, almost like kids at heart. Like, that's what we try to bring back to everything we do, like just, you know, entertaining people, again, not taking ourselves too seriously, creating memorable moments, creating stories. Those are all the things that we care about, and it so happens that that's what the gaming industry really thrives on.
So one thing I hope for, where I think all of this is going to go, is a creator economy, really, where you know, we all get paid to play games, and that happens in different degrees and different ways for all of us. But you know, people are very concerned about AI these days. Maybe it could wipe out a third of all jobs, right? And my answer to that is like, hey, do we all need to work, right? If we maybe have our jobs eliminated, you know, can we create new ones? Instead, and you know, can we get paid to play? You know, like, if we're not going to work, we might as well play. And can we get paid to play? And can that be, you know, a replacement
weird,
for all this?
Yeah, how many new sort of jobs have came out of nowhere with the internet.
Yeah.
But I don't, like, personally in the creative field, like, I'm not worried about AI, and I also don't really get it. But I think, like, this, you know, what I said, people like watching people just be themselves, and a robot isn't that. And sort of in that creation process, people need help to get there by being people and having these ideas that are made from human experiences and stuff. But I do think when you're saying people just watch people playing video games, like, you don't watch any boring YouTubers. Like, you have to be entertaining and editing it and loving it and putting everything into it. And I think all of the talent you've worked with over the years who've survived for decades, like Dan TDM, is because they're so good and so beloved. Right?
Yeah, I think the subscription model is really interesting. It's something we talk about a lot, but I think you have to bring added value to it. You know, if you can pay £5 a month to get the New York Times every month, some of the best journalism in the world, it's kind of looking at that model. So when you look at kind of the YouTube space, you need that fan base that like really care about what you're creating. And then if you're going to charge them for it, you need to think, what is the level up from YouTube? But I mean, it's definitely something that a lot of creators, particularly podcasters, have seen a lot of success in, all of that bonus content, all the behind the scenes stuff. So yeah, I get your point. I think it's really amazing to, you know, be able to be paid to play games, but I think it has to be that slightly more elevated bit of content, but we think about it a lot. It's definitely going to be coming in the future.
Yeah.
And so, Tommy, what would you say to people who sort of want to follow in your footsteps? What can inspire them? What are some suggestions you have for them?
Yeah, I think sort of keeping doing it and really enjoying it and putting yourself into it, because I think there's so much knowledge now on the internet about algorithms and how to sort of succeed on the internet. And I think if you want to be a creator who can then branch out into doing all these different things, you have to start from a place of just loving it and making things that are unique to you, because everyone has a totally different story to tell and are things that they're really passionate about. What do you say? Someone getting
I think hard work.
Hard work.
He makes it look easy, but it's not easy. There's a lot that goes into being a popular YouTuber. There's a whole team of people. There's, you know, regular content. So I think passion, hard work, and the X factor, which is kind of, you can't really put your finger on it. It's obvious.
Yeah, and just keeping at it, because like I do think an element of being discovered by these algorithms is just luck. Mm-hmm. So the more you sort of keep at it, the more likely you are to get lucky.
All right, well, thank you very much, and I think we should come back when you've got 10 billion views.
Thank you, Dean.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank
you, everybody.